Welcome back to another Clifton Cameras video, and today you join me at the heart of Canon headquarters, where I am joined by Medya, Canon product specialist, who is going to be talking us through the key specs of the newly released R5 Mark II. Now, it's worth mentioning at this point that the R1 has also been released at the same time, so we will have a completely separate video on that, so make sure that you check it out. But for now, we've got a lot to get through. So what are some of the upgrades that we can see from the previous version to the R5 Mark II?
Yeah, so as you can see in my hands, I have the brand new R5 Mark II. It is packed with so many new features and so many improvements over the original R5 that everyone is familiar with. We have a brand new sensor designed specifically for the R5 Mark II. So you're looking at 45 megapixels. The sensor is back illuminated and stacked as well, meaning you're going to see the improvements and the difference in the image quality, the low light performance, and even in terms of the reduced shutter distortion, rolling shutter distortion as well. The camera can actually shoot up to 30 frames per second, wow, which is very fast. I mean, the R5 can do 20 frames per second with the electronic shutter. You're looking at 30. So we've managed to improve on that. And with the new autofocus, it can definitely keep up with this. We've been talking about dual pixel CMOS AF 1 and 2. Now we have dual pixel intelligent autofocus. Right. We have what we call the accelerated capture. So this is a big one for the R5 Mark II, but also for the R1, as you see in the other video. As well as the standard processor that we have in our cameras, the Digic X processor, we also have a Digic accelerator. So you're having two processors working together to process and analyze massive amount of data, right, not just for like the imaging data, but we're talking about the autofocus. And that's using deep learning technology. So it's all about the speed of the autofocus, right, and deep learning tracking, which has actually enabled us to add some of the new exciting features, as we'll see, including action priority. Hopefully we'll give you more details on that in the next, during this video. We're also looking at video-wise, the R5 Mark II is a hybrid camera. You can record, well, you can shoot 45 megapixel stills, but you also have that flexibility to record video. 8K resolution, and then plenty of other resolutions and frame rates as well, depending on the deliverables.
You've got a lot.
Yes. We also have eye control autofocus, which is a new feature for the R5 series. We have registered people priority and plenty more. So hopefully we'll be able to go through some of the key features and give you more details about them.
So we were talking about the autofocus modes, action priority. Can you talk us through what we can expect from this?
Yeah, so action priority, as I said, is a new feature that we have on the R5 Mark II. Again, thanks to the accelerated capture and that Digic accelerator, deep learning technology as well. So the camera being able to analyze that large volume of data, AF related for the AF tracking. The camera can read the action and poses which are unique to specific sports. In this case, we're talking football, volleyball and basketball as well. I mean, perfect for the Euros in terms of football. Yeah. So the camera uses deep learning technology as well as an advanced action recognition. It analyzes, as I said, some of the actions, movements of the players, as well as the movement of the ball, and then make sure that the focus and the tracking is always on the right subject.
So combined with that 30 frames per second as well, you're not going to miss anything with this.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, very useful for those new to photographing that particular right, sports. Yeah, yeah. Plus, even for photographers that probably used to taking pictures of football, yeah, this will just make their life easier because they know that they can rely on the camera to do a little bit more work for them. Another new feature that we have on the R5 Mark II is registered people priority. So this is new compared to the R5. We saw version of this on the R3 that was added as a firmware update, but it is better in terms of how it works because of the AI, obviously that used in the R5 Mark II. So you do have the option to register faces, so from 1 to 10, and then prioritize them. So how you would want the camera to focus on them if you have up to those 10 faces in the scene. You can also save up to 10 files on a memory card with 10 faces within each of those files. So you're looking at around 100 faces that you can actually register.
Yep.
This can be useful at weddings, for example, where you start with the bride, the groom, etc. So you prioritize it down to 10 different events in politics and even in sports. And the great thing is, we've talked about the action priority. You can actually combine that with the registered people priority. So you're having two features working together for an even better results.
So you're never missing.
Yeah,
You're never
definitely.
missing. We've also got eye autofocus.
Yeah, so we have eye control autofocus. Again, this is something we currently have on the R3. It now features on the R5 Mark II. Hence, you see the difference on the design of the viewfinder. The way it works is wherever basically your eye is looking, so the camera detects the eye movement, and based on that, it will focus on the subject you are looking at. There are so many ways in terms of how you can customize the eye control autofocus. It works better, it's more accurate compared to the R3, and that's because we've managed to improve the detection algorithm, so the detection of the eye movement. Also, we've made the area of the eye detection larger, and then the frequency or the rate of the eye detection, so the camera scanning your eye movement when you're actually looking at different subjects, we've doubled that rate. So as I said, it is more accurate, especially when you're trying to look from one subject to another, sports or any other action shooting.
Now, I know we've got a lot of video specs
Yeah.
to get into, but is there any more? I think you were talking about the metering.
Yes, again, we've managed to improve metering and white balance with the R5 Mark II, so the camera is more accurate with the brightness and color reproduction as well. We've increased the number of metering zones.
Right.
Currently, with some of the cameras, you're looking at 384 metering zones, like with the R3, for example. What we've done with the R5 Mark II is it has 6,144 metering zones.
Yeah.
So we've multiplied
A bit of an
the
improvement
existing one
there.
massive
Yeah.
by 16 times to give us, as I said, a better metering system, which means the zones, we've got more of them, but they're also a lot smaller.
Right.
So when you're dealing with smaller subjects, is a lot more accurate, that, as I said, reproducing that color and brightness information.
Right. Okay. So a good segue, I think, into the video
Yeah.
is the dual recording that we have. Can you explain a bit about that?
Yeah, definitely. So as I said, we always find ourselves in situations where we need or we want to capture video and stills of a particular scene. And most of the time you'll have to compromise on one. So if you were taking pictures, you'll have to stop and do the video. Or if you were recording video, you'll have to stop and go to photo. What we have with this dual recording on the R5 Mark II is you can record video and take pictures simultaneously without interrupting the video. You can even do continuous shooting, stills-wise, at the same time. So you can already think about the different, I guess, ways how you can take advantage of this. You've got, as I said, weddings. It can be in politics, or even sometimes in sports. Any situation where you want imaging, or so stills evidence, as well as video. The R5 Mark II can deliver on that. You can do full HD on the video side, plus 33.4 megapixels on the still side, and up to around 7-8 frames per second as well. So you can still do more than just one image. You can trigger that wirelessly as well via Bluetooth remote, or if you're using the one of our apps, the Camera Connect, you can also do that via the app.
Through the camera, through the phone as well. So anyone doing wedding photography, solo,
Can be very useful. Yeah, definitely.
yeah, they can have a good time with this. So what other video capabilities does the R5 II have?
so many. I've already mentioned you can do 8K with the R5 Mark II. So with the 8K, you can shoot that in RAW. If you think that you have enough memory storage on the memory card, up to 60 frames per second. And even the battery on the camera is actually capable of letting you record that without the need of external power, which is great.
Wow.
You can also record 4K RAW as well. That's up to 60 frames per second. 8K, you can do that in MP4 as well. But you can do 4K up to 120 frames per second.
Nice.
Which is amazing. I mean,
Yeah,
you still
very
need to keep in mind about the amount of data you're dealing with,
Yep.
but the option is there. Full HD and 2K up to 240 frames per second.
So slow motion, we've got you covered with the R5 Mark II. No
Definitely.
problems.
And you do have so many options in terms of the compressions. Basically, you can choose the right bit rate to ensure that you're capturing the right file size, or to allow you to record for longer.
Right.
And then you can also record externally into an Atomos external recorder, and that can be either 8K RAW or 4K RAW option. You can do like a 2K proxy on the R5 Mark II as well. There is a tally lamp as well to tell you that the camera is recording. Some of the features that the R5 Mark II inherited from our cinema cameras is what we call custom pictures, where you have a range of profiles or presets in a way. So recording using different color spaces and gamma curves, for example, using C-Log 2.
Right.
First time we add in C-Log 2 on our EOS R cameras. We have that on our cinema cameras, but it's the first for EOS R cameras. That will allow you to achieve up to 16 plus stops of dynamic range, which is amazing for the R5 Mark II. And then so many other assist options in terms of the making sure that your scene is exposed correctly with false color, for example, as we saw with the R6 Mark II. You also have waveform monitor as well, which is new again for EOS R cameras. And as I said, there are plenty more in terms of the video features and the options that you can get from the R5 Mark II. There is also, since we're talking video, a grip option, which is a cooling fan that will allow you to record for longer as well.
You mentioned storage space.
Yes.
What storage does this take?
So with the R5 Mark II, similar to what we have on the R5, you do have the option to use one CF Express card and one SD card. So 2 memory cards you can use at the same time. If you're recording RAW video, for example, 8K RAW, you're definitely going to need CF Express card. For most of the other resolutions and stills,
should be okay.
SD card would be fine.
Okay, so we talked a lot about the internals of the camera. Now, could you talk us through the weights, the connections and stuff that we have?
Yeah, so picking up when you have the R5 Mark II in your hands, it does feel very similar to the original R5. And even physically, actually, you look at basically comparing them side by side, very similar. You'll notice the difference in the size of the viewfinder. That's because of the eye control area for the eye detection. So this basically looks bigger than on the R5. A new addition on the R5 Mark II is you also have a full-size HDMI. Pretty sure this will be appreciated, but loads of videographers out there. We also have the multi-function shoe. So the R5 does have the standard shoe. R5 Mark II, you have the new one. I mean, this was introduced with the R3 in 2021, and we've seen it on most of our EOS R cameras, but now it is on the R5 Mark II, so it means you can use the newer speed lights that we've announced, so the EL5, the EL10, but also some of the accessories compatible with this new shoe, including the Tascam XLR adapter, for example, for more advanced audio that you have. Some of the accessories can be powered as well, connecting them to the multi-function shoe as well. And as I mentioned earlier, one of the physical differences, you can see the tally lamp on there as well. And we also have a brand new battery. So physically is the same size as the current one that we have, the LPE6NH. So this is the LPE6P. The benefit of this new battery, it actually output more power to enable the camera to do all the operations needed for like the action priority, processing all that large volume of data for the video, for the networking functions. But you can use the existing one with some of the limited functionalities, depending, I guess, what you're after. Weight-wise, this camera is about 6 grams heavier than the R5, which you're not actually going to feel that difference.
For what you get for it. I think it's a good trade.
But it has the same weather sealing and weather and dust resistance as the R5.
Excellent. There is a load of information I'm sure that we've forgotten to mention in this. So if you do want any more information, make sure that you click the link in the description. Make sure you leave a like on the video because it really does help to boost the channel. And we will see you next time. Medea, thank you so much for talking us through the R5C.
Thank you.
Nice
Thanks
one.
for everyone for watching as well.